Hi, and welcome to LiveWire. I'm your guest host, Don Hinkle. We have got a special show for you tonight. Who's the guy in this picture? Stick around and you'll find right out. We'll be right back. So today we're turning the tables, and we're talking to a Sacramento icon, Ray Tartar, from Access Sacramento's own show, LiveWire. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you.
This is kind of funny because I'm used to sitting in that chair and you interviewing me.
Absolutely.
Right? So this is kind of a reverse role, but I like it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the young man in this picture, who is that?
I recognize him. It's me.
My gosh.
In 1965 at the Renaissance Pleasure Fair this is Los Angeles. It's in Los Angeles because they didn't move the fair. They had the fair in two places, in L.A. And in the north, Black Point, above San Francisco.
Is that what got you started?
Oh no! Actually, that pictures from we borrowed the costumes from a production of Taming of the Shrew that we were both in. That guy Steve Gillen played Tranio, and I played Lucentio, the singer.
Really? Do you like the Renaissance time?
Oh, yea, verily, sir.
Yes.
I would love to be back at that fair.
I know that you spent some time in England, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but that's going to be really interesting because I want to hear what you did there. So, take us back. I have all this information on you, something about a birdcage theater at Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, yes. I was going to college in Orange County, and a guy I was working with in one scene said, "Hey, there's a part open in our theater company." And I said, "Does it pay?" He says, "Yes." Paid to act? Oh boy. And it was taking the place of none other than Steve Martin, who left to go to Disneyland, and after that became a big star.
And look at that picture. Is that it?
That's me on the far left. The Salvation of Silas Shekelgrabber.
Wow.
Yeah. And I did 4 or 5 shows. Get this, Don. We did that play 4 times a day, 2 o'clock, 3:30, 7:30, and 9:15, and 5 times on Sunday with vaudeville.
Wow.
I would go out and do a stand-up comedy routine called the States Routine, and just enjoyed myself so much. And the 2 old guys that ran that were real old-time vaudevillians, and so they would hire all these old-time stars to come in, people who had worked with people like W.C. Fields. And I'm talking with this woman who starred with W.C. Fields in 3 or 4 films, and I'm asking her, well, what was he like? And it was like cultural anthropology at its best.
Where did you get your roots from? I mean, where did you really find the acting? I mean, Knott's Berry Farm, I remember going there as a child.
Yes.
So I know the shows you're talking about, which were great, but is that where you learned your craft? I mean...
Oh, no. I was going to be a biologist, and I was walking across the campus, and this guy right here said, "Oh, I've got to go to this audition. I want to be an actor. Will you come with me and just sit there next to me?" And we were high school buddies.
Wow.
And I said, "Okay." So I go to the audition, and the director, smooth-tongued director, comes over and says, "Hey, can you act?" And I said, "Well, no, I did some in high school. I bet you can. I want you to play this small role in this play, and you can be his partner in it. And it's a kind of a nice comical thing." So I did it, and that was it. I then became a drama major, and then from that, we went to the Renaissance Fair, which I directed 10 years later.
That same fair?
Yeah, very same fair.
Wow.
And then I still sit on the board of directors of the Living History Foundation, which is a granting agency started by the fair.
You have so much experience, and you've done so many things, and you wear a lot of hats, right? I mean, you're an actor.
Yes.
You've written before, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You've directed
Oh,
a lot.
yeah.
Okay. You're a producer,
Yeah.
and of course, you're a host of a very long-running show, LiveWire.
That's right.
How can you encapsulate and give us a brief overview of some of those things that you've done? I mean, like the writing aspect.
Yeah. Well, everything I do is connected to the community. I mean, the reason I have stayed with LiveWire for so long, because it's a wonderful learning process for me to learn about all the organizations that Sacramento serves, the service organizations, the medical organizations, the protective organizations, the cultural organizations, the theaters, the dance companies, what have you. I get to talk to them on a weekly
Right.
basis and ask them questions. And I love it. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. And what it does is it provides, and all of that stuff, the writing, the drama criticism programs that I've done. I even produced a television series called State of the Arts for the State Arts Council in the late 80s. And we brought, in this very studio, brought in a set and had the director of the agency interview stars in California firmament of the arts and various kinds of arts forms, from Wayne Thiebaud to any small dancer in a small company in San Diego.
Wow.
Totally enjoyable. It's all part of the same process, though, about working in the community and supporting those kinds of organizations, like this organization. The film. To be able to make a film and never having made one before, to write a film and then having it produced in a place called Sacramento I don't know of any other community in the United States that can do that and then show it in front of 900 people.
On a full-size screen.
Yeah, and a full-size screen. Then the KUBU. I mean, Access Sacramento continues to develop, and its board of directors continues to support and make it. Really is a jewel, an unsung jewel, I think, in the United States. That's what drew me, and all of these other things. They're all tied together philosophically, and with that, it goes back to the '60s, but that's a long conversation.
I know we need a couple hours for that, right?
Yeah.
So I hear that you studied with Lee Strasberg.
Oh yes, yeah, right.
So elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, at that time, I still wanted to be an actor. I tried directing. I want an internship with the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, and they sent me to Columbia and Screen Gems to study being a film director and television. So I worked on the I Dream of Jeannie set, and I worked on the Flying Nun set, and then a couple of big movies. One you never heard of and one you always will hear of. And they were interesting, but I learned that filmmaking is really, they call it the factory. It is factory, And I thought, maybe this isn't for me. And then I really loved live theater. And so that's basically what has drawn me into do this kind of work that I do.
So you actually received a pretty big honor, is that true?
A couple of them, yeah.
Ellie Award?
Oh, yeah, a bunch of them. There's a whole bunch on the wall there. I like directing, and I like doing new work. And all of my work is informed by my life in Berkeley in the 60s. I went to UC Berkeley, and we were at war. And I had a real passion, anti-war passion in my heart at that time. And I watched what happened at war, and I watched how America was developing into a kind of a violent place to live when it should be not. And so a lot of the pieces that I do, including the current show that I'm putting on, deal with how we interact as people and either support each other on the planet or take from each other.
So a lot of that comes from your personal experiences.
Yes, and that's what that's what an artistic director gets to do. That's the one thing is posit to his board of director or her board of directors a series of plays that mean something. It's not Hello Dolly or Guys and Dolls. You can't. Even though those are wonderful pieces, they don't teach you anything. What do you learn from that
Right.
that you don't know? So it's an hour and a half of fun. Okay, do it. But I can't do that. I have to do these community-based, closely community-based some, and not so community-based some, activities that are artistic, and they speak to issues that you and I face as modern Americans.
You're an actor. You probably had numerous performances
Yes.
in many different roles. Any of them stick out in your mind as really special to you?
Some of the first ones always stick out in anyone's mind. The first of anything, you always remember. I remember being on tour with Zoo Story by Edward Albee, and we toured that play a long time. And in that play, I get killed at the end of the play. I talk this guy into stabbing me. Well, he does, and what happens is I grab the knife, and then I pull my hands back, and the knife stays. How do we do that? Just trickery. It had a balsa wood in there with a metal plate behind it, and it was strapped around me. And the knife stuck in there, and it stuck down through a blood packet. So the audience saw blood coming down. And, it was really great. But one night, there was an earthquake. I felt the earthquake, and then I kind of glanced out in the audience, and it's right at the point of the time where the guy's supposed to come at me with the knife. And I'm looking at the audience. The audience are, they're for some reason, maybe it was just the stage house that moved, and they were separate from the audience because the audience did not react to an earthquake. But my buddy did, and he's got the knife. So he comes over, and I say, "Oh wait, new interpretation. I stab myself." So I grab his hand and I pull it, but I miss.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, yeah. And he just cut me a little bit, and I pull it out and drop and do the death. But that stuck me a little. Every actor and every director has a kit bag of stories of incidents like that one I just described
Right.
in their life. And those stick out, but there's some triumphs. I do a lot of new work. And I found a playwright in about the year 2000, a guy named Rick Foster, who wrote wonderful shows. And so I've done 10 of his plays. And then in the last few years, 2 other playwrights that are extremely good. And one's local, Richard, I want to say Brodigan every time I say his name. But he's a wonderful playwright, and I totally love his approach to human nature.
So we're going to take a quick break, okay? And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk more. Really, a half hour is not enough with you.
Sure.
It's really not. But we do have some exciting news, and it's regarding the PCS Film Festival, which you just mentioned, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it on over to the Executive Director, Gary Martin, for Access Sacramento.
Okay.
And it is exceptionally wonderful to be on the LiveWire show and to hear these wonderful stories from Ray Tatter. And Don, thanks for helping us today with the Turn the Tables program. So I am Gary Martin from the place called Sacramento Film Festival. I'm the executive director here at Access Sacramento. Each year we host a film festival on the big screen at the Crest downtown in October of every year. But it all starts with a script competition. So now our 19th annual, A Place Called Sacramento, is about to begin, and there is a call for scripts that'll be due March 21st. But in order to help people who maybe have never written a script or are interested in finding out how to specialize in that short form, 10-minute format that we're after, we have a class that's beginning this Saturday. And in order to enroll in that class, all you have to do is contact the Access Sacramento office. It's a $50 fee, and that allows you to attend 4 Saturday mornings from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. But here's some very extra special news. In partnership with the Perry Communications Group, we are delighted to say that there is an opportunity for 4 women, because one's already signed up, 4 more women to get a scholarship for this class. In order to be eligible for the scholarship, you have to be 21 or under and female. And the Perry Communications Group is encouraging all of those people who aspire to repeat the grand efforts of our own Sacramento storyteller, writer, and director Greta Gerwig, who recently had the Lady Bird story on the big screen featuring Sacramento. She grew up as a alumni of St. Francis High School, and her story about growing up in Sacramento and coming of age is featured in the movie Lady Bird. We're looking for another young set of women who want to write scripts and become experts in this filmmaking process. So, Access Sacramento's 19th annual, A Place Called Sacramento, is getting underway. You can participate by taking this short-form film class. It's being taught by instructor Dawn Spinella. She has a Master's of Fine Arts in Screenwriting, and she is the lead coach for the California Film Foundation. And so if you want to learn from an expert, we encourage you to sign up for this $50 class by contacting the Access Sacramento office at 916-456-8600. And if you'd like to be a part of the scholarship program by the Perry Communications Group, you do have to come into our office in order to demonstrate that you're 21 and under. So stop by 4623 T Street in the Coloma Community Center. Stop by and see Access Sacramento. We would be delighted to have you participate in this year's script competition. All of the scripts due March the 21st, and then after that, we'll select the 10 best 10-minute scripts, each of them family-friendly, intending to create those films over the summer and then to be on the big screen at the Place Called Sacramento Film Festival at the Crest Theater downtown the first weekend in October. And it's an exciting opportunity. We hope you will join us. And whether you're going to write a script or whether you're going to come to our festival, we thank you for supporting Access Sacramento, the Place Called Sacramento Film Festival, and hopefully out there we're going to find the next Greta Gerwig, and certainly we are going to find 10 brand new scripts intended for the big screen in October. So I'm Gary Martin from Access Sacramento, and we thank Ray and Dawn for sharing our story and all the good things that are happening here at Access in this special program, and our salute to Ray Tatter. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. So we were talking earlier, Ray, about kind of when you first started, talking about working with Columbia, with the internship at Columbia Pictures or Screen Gems, working on a couple of different TV shows as well. You were in London, right?
Oh, yes, so after that.
So, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about California stage, but I do want to hear a little bit about London. What took you there? What did you learn? What did you bring back?
Well, Zelda Rubinstein, my first wife, passed away. And I went to London because we just went to visit a friend of hers. And we loved London so well. I said, we should come back here and live. And we thought, okay, let's try it. And we did. And the first job I got was with the Royal National Theatre of the Deaf. And I had to learn British Sign Language, which is two-handed.
Is British Sign Language different than?
Well, totally different than Amistlan. They love Amistlan because you can hold a cup of coffee and talk at the same time. It's great. So I had to learn that, and then I became their tour manager, and we drove around. But I was looking for a job teaching because I had, some skills, working with Lee Strasberg and learning about the method acting process. And also, I'm a director, so I could direct plays, American plays. And a college in Richmond opened, which had a drama school inside it between Richmond and Twickenham College. They're right across the river from one another. They had a department head who said, "Bang, you're hired." And so I got to work for 2.5 years as a director there and a teacher. I taught beginning acting and acting styles.
Do you think the culture is different over there as
Oh
opposed to here?
yeah. Oh, it sure is. You know,
When I visited
consider
England, I
the
remember that.
language is different.
Yes.
You know, you say, "Would you look in the boot or the bonnet?"
Yeah.
You know, and we're
trunk.
talking about car parts.
The trunk, yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I understand. Yeah, totally different. So let's talk about California Stage.
Okay, California Stage is a theater company in Sacramento, and it's part of a art center called R25 on R Street and 25th Street. Pretty prosaic. And in that there are various kinds of arts organizations, from the Poetry Center to sculptors and painters and and there are 5 theater companies that use the 3 theaters there. My theater company is one of them. Resurrection Theater, El Teatro Espejo is one of them. So it's really a kind of wonderful multicultural center for art. And there's a Women's Wisdom Project, which is for women who are not homebound, but can leave their home and make art in the mornings.
I think we've got some slides.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
I think we do. So
okay.
when they pop up, maybe we can actually talk
Okay.
a little bit about them.
well, that is the theater company people. Those are in the current show. Or no, that's from the, yes, those are the current show people. The guy on the right there is Richard the playwright, and then there are the 2 actors, Lauren Taylor and Tori Scroggins. Those are the 2 stars of a current show that I'm doing. And the director there, Janice Stevens. And that looks like me introducing, oh yes, I come out before every show and I talk about the theater company and introduce the play and tell people to turn off their cell phones. And that is the set, actually, for the current show. Really nice, almost a Broadway quality set. Very, very happy with it.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Winter's Waltz is the play. Richard Broadhurst. And, oh, I know what this is. This is where's Santa? Santa's not there, but there I am as an elf in the Access Sacramento annual Christmas special, which is quite wonderful, actually. A lot of community entertainers. You see a guy with a guitar in the background, but there are lots of singers and students and performers. And this is from last year. This is another community group. I think these are dancers. This is from a while back. Fun, though. Fun to interview artists on Access Sacramento.
So how did you get involved with California Stage? How did that actually happen?
Oh, I was working for the California Arts Council in 1982. And I had a theater program, a granting program, and I needed some theater experts from across the state. So I got this guy named Dennis Wilkerson from Los Angeles up. And the governor sent over someone to oversee what we were doing. And Dennis was so articulate in one section of that the governor decided to give him a commission to work for the Arts Council. So he's an appointee. Well, when Brown left that first administration, he was out of a job, like all appointees are. And I said, so what are you going to do, Dennis? And we had just read this article on how to take a factory building and recommission it as, or repurpose, as they say now, repurpose it as an art center. And that's how it came to be. It took us a while to find the right place. At the 25th and R in Midtown Sacramento, we found the perfect factory building. And so we put in the 3 theaters, we put in the artist lofts, and we proceeded apace, producing plays.
That's great. And it sounds like you bring in the plays that you would not see in another theater.
No, that's correct. That's correct. We don't compete with the other theaters. We don't do, 30-year-old plays that played off Broadway.
Right.
We won't do those things.
So we're almost out of time, which I knew was going to go really quickly. But let's talk just a little bit about how long have you been doing LiveWire? How long has Ray been sitting in this chair?
I think it's 12 years. I I don't really count. I just come here on Wednesdays and do the program. But I must say I did some interviews long before that. Just as Access Sacramento was getting together, I thought this is a brilliant idea, And Comcast and all of the other support organizations, the county and the city support organizations, they bought into it. They didn't buy into it in Hollywood. I actually had a TV program like this one in Hollywood, and it was a one-camera shoot. Look at there are 3 cameras facing us, and we're
Yeah.
talking to in color on high definition. That's wonderful to have a community to concern itself with making sure that its community members have access to learning how to make the media, how to make films, how to make radio programs. It's amazing.
It is, and you're right. Access is a true gem.
True is.
I might be biased on that, but
Yeah.
I do believe it's a
You
true
have
gem.
something to do with it, I think.
I don't know, but it's a true gem. It truly is. So, with Access and with LiveWire, what keeps you going? What drives you with
Oh,
that?
the next show, the next play. I'm working right now on a. I must say, I spent a part of the day with a playwright talking about Dorothea Puente, because we do plays not about all heroes. We do anti-heroes or villains.
Right.
And she's an interesting topic to write a play about. So I've commissioned this playwright to write this work on Dorothea Puente and what the long con means, and how 5 or 6 social services workers for 3 years did not know that their clients were dead.
That sounds like a really good play.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah. We do comedies as well. Okay,
Right.
my board wouldn't let me
Do all serious.
do all the serious stuff, but there are things that we do need to talk about. We need to talk about how people take from other people, and the violence of that.
So, in about 30 seconds, anything on your bucket list that you really want to do still?
There are a number of things I really want to do. I've worked with playwrights in my past that I really loved working with, and I've been contacting them. There's a guy named John O'Keefe who lives in San Francisco, and his work has been done by the Magic Theater, which I was a part of many moons ago. And but his work's been done all over the United States, and here I hadn't read the things. So I finally got some online copies of, there's a play he's doing called Times Like These, and it's hearkening back to our time right now.
Right.
And so, hearkening forward, hearkening back, whatever. And so I contacted him, so it's kind of like, are you Ray Tatter from the Magic Theater in 1968? Yeah. Oh, how are you? And so that was a wonderful thing. But
Right.
that's what I look forward to. The next event, and then I'm doing this. I don't know if I have time, but I would say
don't.
this is called Shakespeare. I don't have the time.
Yeah, we're basically, I'm getting
I'm
the
doing
wrap
the
up.
Shakespeare thing from with the city library here. They have a 3rd folio.
I've got to go. Ray, thank you so much. I have enjoyed sitting in your chair. Thank you for
Thanks,
letting me
Don.
do it. Next week, Ray will be right back here, folks. And until next week, thanks for watching LiveWire. What a fun time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All right. Okay.